Hello dear viewers, today's build is a very efficient assassin who needs no daggers and no fancy dark clothes. He blends with the crowd very easily, and he can just go around in a peasant tunic and conjure his weapons out of the thin air. Cool, shady and deadly. Before I go into details though, let me just say something I should have told you a long time ago. Smash that fucking like button now. Smash the bell too with no mercy. Subscribe now. Subscribe now for the ruin and the world's ending. Smash it, strike it, smite it, hump it. Go do the nasty things to all the buttons around this video now. Please. Alright? Okay, hopefully this will make the channel grow. Now, for the build. Let's start with the backstory. Your youth in Alienor was rough but unremarkable. You lost your parents early in life. You tried to get by on the streets with petty thievery and begging as your only trades. For what it's worth, you have become quite a skillful thief before reaching adulthood. You lost all hope for a change in your life, but then, life is always full of surprises. One life-altering surprise was a chance meeting with an old Thalmor justiciar who had some use for your particular set of skills. He offered you a few odd jobs, stealing some incriminating items, planting some false evidence in people's houses. All means are justified in the fight against the enemies of the Thalmor. Soon you began training as an undercover agent and a hitman. You had your doubts about this line of work, but then the money was good, and it wasn't your thing to ask questions. Your crucial and most challenging assignment required of you to travel to Skyrim and silently eliminate 2 secret Talos worshippers in Windhelm, out of the reach of the Justiciars. The land looked grim and hostile to you, but a job is a job. Once you sneaked in the house of your marks, you discovered something you were not told by your superiors. These Talos worshippers were married, and they had a little son. The memory of your lost childhood stopped you in the act. That was too much. So, 10 years after that Justiciar recruited you, you decided to hide in the streets again. You knew that failing your task will bring vengeance upon your head. You knew that Thalmor will start to hunt you soon enough. When this happens, you will not go down without a fight. In fact, you may be forced to hunt them too. To start your Thalmor avenging life, you will need these attributes here. It's cool, cause all your magicka will come from enchantments eventually, and so will the majority of your stamina. You need no excessive stamina because you will only use the very lightweight conjured weapons. With health, however, the more the better, because we will only have the alteration armor spells for protection. Low armor rating and dual weapon combat create a glass cannon character whose survival depends on high health and the ability to re-enter the sneak mode at will. As for the race, you absolutely have to go high elf. It will give you a permanent boost to your magicka as well as the most useful racial power in the universe. Well, at least in my opinion. Both of these bonuses will help you immensely early to mid-game with the low magicka problem. Most of your spells will be dirty cheap and low level. You are from the Somerset, but you never had money or time to hone your magic skills. For the standing stone you will need the Atronach. Your life kind of depends on this choice, as your enchantment slots will be needed for health, magicka and skill improvements, so wasting it on resistances would be well, wasteful. With the stone and the Atronach perk, you get another cool way of replenishing magicka, and it will make your encounters with these pesky Thalmor wizards so much easier. My advice is to get the stone ASAP and stick with it for the entire playthrough. Easy to remember, good plan. These initial choices of race, stone and attributes will get you a very tidy and reliable character. You will need to train your enchanting skill pretty early though, to get your magicka fixed, but other than that the build is dope, man. It's great, it's cool, man. Dude, it just works. Speaking of the bloody enchanting, which I always take, because Munchkin, here are the perks. Just go for the extra effect through the middle branch, and you need skill and attribute improving enchantments anyway. Try to complete the skill before level 30, so that the level scaling doesn't overwhelm you in the late game. You should also try to get the boned weapon spells early, all of them, so the sword and the dagger for close combat and the bow for some easy stealth kills. Mystic Binding will be mandatory. Without it, the bound weapons can be pretty useless on higher difficulty levels. Speaking of weapons, here is the obvious one-handed perk selection. All ranks of the Armsman perk are necessary, as you can't temper your weapons, and the dual Fury and Savagery perks are of top priority as well. They will make the combat fast, efficient and brutal, just as I like it. If you are going to engage in close combat, remember to have your dagger in your left hand and the sword in your right. You will maximize the speed of your power attacks this way. You may also want to hotkey a bunch of restore stamina potions for the longest of combat encounters. Of course, you can also choose to fight like a coward, I mean like a very clever assassin, with the use of your bound bow, which is fast, lightweight and can really punch hard if you have your overdraw perk maxed out, and your Mystic Binding unlocked and your Fortify archery enchantments in place. You may even decide to invest in the right hand side of the skill tree just for the best perk in the game, Hunter's Discipline. I'm kidding, of course, Hunter's Discipline sucks, but the Ranger doesn't suck that much and is very useful for combat archery. To improve your durability, use your Alteration skill every combat. Both this skill and Conjuration will level up swiftly and naturally. You don't have to worry about no grinding and such, but unfortunately the crucial Atronach perk comes in quite late in the game. If you want to be safer against the mages early on, you should probably try to get the Ethereal Crown and place the Lord Stone on it for some magic resistance. You should also try to obtain the Agent of Mara quest power and Azura's Blessings for some additional magic resistance. As for the magic resistance perk in Alteration, I wouldn't bother if I were you. This build needs plenty of perks already. Do bother with Illusion though. Quiet casting will be very handy too, so that summoning your weapons don't break the stealth. And even the cheapest calming spells or a simple fury spell can save you from many sticky situations. I like to calm people down to resume my sneak, for example. It's a good move when you feel overwhelmed. You will also have some use for the muffle spell early on, before your sneak skill is maxed out. Late in the game you will be able to use Apprentice and Adept Illusion spells even without the appropriate perks, and that's due to Fortify Magicka and Illusion enchantments. To wrap up the build, you will need some sneak perks, especially the ones on the right hand side of the tree, because there's no assassin without them. You'll power attack from sneak with all these perks unlocked. Does to your foes what Ben Shapiro does to SJWs. It obliterates them. Ooh, am I getting political all of a sudden? No, it was a joke, alright? If you plan to sneak with this character for longer, left-hand perks will also be very useful because critical charge combined with silent roll is cool and it lets you move around very swiftly. Right, no need for an items section this time, as this build needs no quest items or any unique items, with the possible exception of Ethereal Crown, which is helpful but not crucial at all. Other than that, use the following enchantments on your gear. I tried to present them in the order of importance, but it will probably depend on your gameplay choices. The skill-improving enchantments, especially Fortify one-handed, should probably be placed on as many items as possible. If you wish to rely mainly on Sneak and engage in close combat only at times, you can probably skip Fortify stamina enchantments. This character uses a very limited selection of mostly very cheap spells. Once you reach about 250 magicka, you should be able to use all of them in a single combat encounter. Remember to always keep your magic armor on and recast Muffle if you wish to remain hidden. If you have Muffle spell and perk, you can hide quite easily even if you are already detected. Remember that calming your enemies with illusion spells will make them stop searching for you actively, hence letting you hide again with no problems at all. To max out your weapon damage, you could also go for the Blessings of Boethia. It's only 10% to your damage output, but it stacks with all the enchantments you may have, so why the hell not? Alternatively, you may want to get the Blessing of Akatosh to offset the magicka regeneration penalty from the Atronax Stone. Lastly, since the build is a glass cannon, the Black Book power of Mora's Boon can be used once a day as a panic button. Hopefully you can see how it all works by now. It's a versatile assassin/warrior, though the assassin part is probably more pronounced than in any of my other builds. You can switch between combat styles easily, crowd control with some cheap spells, and hide in plain sight. Your lack of armor means you will be very successful at sneak from day one. The build doesn't need any fancy armors and carries no clunky weapons. It's easy to mistake him for a simple commoner, which is exactly what he wants if he is to hide from the vengeful Thalmor. Alright dudes and dudettes, I think that's it. If you have any questions, critiques, additions and input, go to the comment section and type them down. Also remember to mercilessly smash the like button, the bell button and subscribe. Just smash all the buttons. We will see each other again. Love ya. Bye bye.